If you ever tried to interact with a blockchain, send a transaction, do an NFT mint, and it didn't go through, it didn't work, this episode might be for you today. We have Yair Cleper with us today, the co-founder of Lava Network. Lava Network is based on the premise that the current RPC and data infrastructure is not capable of scaling Ethereum, its rollups, and all other chains. For those new to the term, RPCs are crucial in the blockchain ecosystem. They are like our access points to blockchains, facilitating transactions and data queries. Instead of relying on a few centralized RPC providers, Lava Network wants to switch things up with a decentralized, incentivized network for RPC providers, making the whole process more reliable, efficient, and transparent. They have raised $15 million in their seed round and have an incentivized testnet running today where you can earn points for using it. So stay tuned and find out more about this and how you can get involved. Let's go. Okay, thank you for tuning into the Teach Me DeFi podcast. Today we got Yair Cleper with us, co-founder of Lava Network. How are you, man?
I'm great, Sohei. Good to be here. Exciting times, and yeah, I'm excited for this episode.
Sweet. Yeah, thank you for coming on the show. I see you're kitted out. You got the I Lava You shirt on.
Yeah, it's amazing merch. We just handed it out in Denver, and it was sold out very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
People love you. People love those times in crypto, I guess, and yeah, it's a great energy there.
All right, cool. I missed out there, unfortunately. But next time I'll stop by the booth.
Sounds good. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Sweet. Actually, speaking of loving things, maybe to start this off, I've been asking this some of our guests, and I think it's just fun to hear everyone's thoughts. What do you love most and hate most about crypto at the moment?
Um, that's a good thing. It's the first bull market that I've been witnessing to.
All right.
I think meme coins is a controversial topic. On the one hand, like we at the point that this cycle every everyone is very excited about a new meme coin and a meme coin coming up every day.
Mm,
So there's a lot of noise there, but on the other hand, I think meme coin arguably is one of the key benefits of crypto, which is the ability to speculate, right? I believe that if we really want to see this kind of bull run with the more adoption phase, we should see more utility from this cycle. And we see, for example, Farcaster, and we see other social platform that bringing the utility to Web3.
mm.
And I think that's the time. That's the time to be more widely adopted.
All right. Well, sounds like it's a good time for Lava Network because you guys are pretty much getting started and have some traction already. So yeah, let's chat about that perhaps. Maybe to start it off, on your website it says "build whatever, wherever." Um, what's behind this tagline?
So, let me start with a question like, why are there no killer apps in Web3? That's the big question that guide us. And we believe the answer is because the devs today are restricted. You need developers to have great experience, utility, and then they bring the innovation and change the world, right? We see that with the internet. We see that with tech. We see it now with AI. But I think that the next question is like how we lower the barrier entry, the barrier of entry to dApps, and bring much more flexibility to whatever they want to do, right? And I think the answer to that is modularity, because modular blockchains, we believe they are the future. So they're enabling the dApps to combine different parts of the blockchain, like Lego, right? when I was a kid, I loved to play with Lego, and I could use one piece to build a castle, to build a small house, to build a vehicle, and that's the tool that we want to hand to developers, that they can build whatever they want by adding together small pieces of different chains. So I think the build wherever is super aligned with the modular vision, but Lava gives not only the whatever, right? The modules, what are the different pieces of the puzzle that you want to build, but wherever you can build. And I think this is one of the innovations that we need to unlock here. Okay, if like you see Bitcoin and Ethereum dominated for a long time, now we see a cycle with hundreds and thousands of different blockchains that appearing. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter which thesis you're on. If you are for the monolithic chain, if you are for rollup centric, if you are for modular thesis, every dApps at the end of the day wants to get access and build wherever they want.
Mm. Okay, okay, I like it. That's quite the universal thesis. Yeah, let's dive into that more. One like that you mentioned data access, right? Like the applications needs and want data access. And perhaps it makes sense to give a little primer here, a little explanation about what RPCs are, also for like non-technical users in the space, because everyone that has interacted with crypto most likely has interacted with RPCs. So I think it's a good starting point to catch viewers, so to say.
Yeah, definitely. Can I ask you, Soe, what languages do you speak?
Well, German, because I'm from Germany,
Oh, interesting.
Persian, and English, basically.
Nice.
Some others, but I wouldn't say I'm quite fluent there. So,
Great. So I think a great analogy for that is that RPC is the language of
Mhm.
blockchains. So I previously mentioned that blockchain access, it's we need to be clear for some people, but blockchain access isn't just connecting to your wallet, right? Isn't just uh, communicating read-write transaction with the blockchain itself. So I will show a demo in a bit, but I think that if you think about that, the blockchain is like a ledger. It's a database where there are lots of nodes that storing a copy of this database. But this database is only useful if you can get data out of that
Mm,
and send that data to it. So at the end of the day, if blockchain access, we're looking at blockchain access is the ability to send transaction and the ability to get data from the blockchain. RPC is the way that blockchain access happens. RPC is remote procedure call. It's how the dApps communicate with the blockchain themselves to get the data, fetch the data, read, write. And if you open your wallet and you check your Ethereum account balance, your wallet is actually making an RPC call. This
mm,
call is a request to a node in Ethereum that he wants to get a response from. Another
mm,
example is, for example, you send the transaction to Blast. So your wallet is sending the transaction to a node on Blast, and the node sends it to the mempool, right? So validators can pick it up and add it to the next block. So as you can see, RPC is how users and dApps can actually do anything with the blockchain, and every blockchain need people to run nodes to serve all of these requests. And I think we have one demo that we prepared today.
mm.
And if I might share a screen now,
Yeah,
I
let's do it.
will. I'm very excited to show what we announced 4 months ago, 4 weeks ago. Sorry, and this is the
4 weeks is like 4 months in crypto.
it's a, like something like that. Yeah, it's like we call it it's the magma point system.
Hmm.
Always before the lava, there is the magma, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we announced we wanted the idea was to connect the non-technical crypto user to Lava. At the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, who's gonna the only the dApps using the RPC request, and they are communicating with the different products of the Lava network. But we wanted to bring each and every user. So that's how we came up with the Magma or point system, where you can connect your wallet behind the scene to the Lava endpoint in every ecosystem, every chain you use, and at the end of the day, to receive points for the RPC calls. Okay, so now I connected. This is the point system. That's the leaderboard, and you see I'm not very active, unfortunately. I need to change my wallet, and you see that here I actually let me open the MetaMask, and in my MetaMask, you can see that there are different chains that I'm using, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there is the smart chain, the Polygon. I can add a network, and I need to go add a network manually and define here, for example, the Ethereum mainnet, right?
Mm-hmm.
I already did that at back on the screen, so you can see here Lava Ethereum mainnet. And by the way, if you notice something, MetaMask has already, obviously, a Ethereum mainnet, but you cannot change it. And the reason is because they're working with Infura, of
Mm-hmm.
which is one of the biggest centralized provider that really lowered the barrier to entry. But with Lava, we wanted to aggregate different provider, also on Ethereum, and route the request for them. I can talk a bit later about obviously all the added value. But here, just to finish the demo, after you define the network name and the RPC URL, you actually go back to the wallet, to the Magma points, and you can see the different chains endpoints that we prepare specifically for this wallet. And this is the
Mm-hmm.
key that will help the wallet aggregate the points. So the referral here is we copy paste that, we're going back to MetaMask, and we simply copy paste that. Chain ID is one, and yeah, actually I already saved that, so I cannot change. But obviously, when you do add network, then it will let you change. So
Mm-hmm.
now, once it's saved, every time I'm opening my MetaMask wallet, I make a call. I make a call to an RPC call to check the account balance of the specific wallet, right? And
Mm-hmm.
now every call you make, you receive points for that, and there are different scores for different points. At the end of the day, it's aggregated here. You can see my rank now. You can see that in 4 weeks, more than million wallets
Mm-hmm.
million wallets have opened, and definitely caused our team to work 25/7, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the leaderboard. We see the total points, the wallet points. Soon we're going to have other different points. And yeah, it's super exciting. So this is basically how we can, how we can emphasize and demonstrate what is RPC. Everyone uses RPC, whether you want it or not.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's slow down a bit. Let's think. For example, let's say there's a popular NFT mint happening on ETH, right? And
Yeah.
I'm taking part, but I can't get my transaction through or whatever. What's happening there?
So basically, you have like um, it can happen because of many reasons, various
Mm-hmm.
reasons, obviously. But I think when we entered the space, we realized that there's a lot of dependency on the centralized providers. And when you're choosing one provider, maybe two, it's very hard to make sure to put all your eggs in one bucket, right? So um, when there is like a scalability need, or a lot of attention to a specific endpoint, you're gonna end up with a single point of failure.
Mm-hmm.
Once the endpoint is down, you cannot access your wallet. You cannot make transaction. You cannot mint. You cannot get the NFT, and so forth. So one of the problems that identified from the get go is the single point of failure.
Okay. And what does Lava Network do differently here then? I understand that it's sort of like a decentralized network of RPC providers, I believe. What would perhaps even what would happen in that scenario where we'd have one RPC provider receive a lot of calls and kind of buckle under that pressure? What would go differently?
Definitely. So I think, if we started from Uber for nodes, right? We started from the fact that you cannot trust only a single provider. You don't have, privacy. You don't have censorship resistance. You don't even have data accuracy because you don't know if this is the latest block or if nobody is in the middle had a DNA hijacking and presenting you false information. So we started with Uber for nodes. Everyone can list his own infra, and Lava is a network of different node runners, node providers that have access to different chains. dApps are coming to Lava and using our peer-to-peer communication protocol. It means that from the browser, we can Lava can pair you automatically with a list of different providers that constantly being scored for the service they make. So exactly like Uber, when the passenger give a score for how was the ride, how was the driver, how was the car, in Lava it's automatically be done in the first time that the data consumers, the dApps themselves score at the end of the transaction or the session, they score the drivers, which are the data providers. And so Lava started as the decentralized RPC, but last year the vision grew dramatically. And we defined something that we call the specs. Specs is basically can be defined by the community, by early contributors, by the champions. The champions are defining different specs for different ecosystems because at the end of the day, no single ecosystem can define, and no single provider can support the dozens and hundreds and maybe thousands of different blockchains that are going to be appearing in the short term. I hope it answering your question.
Yeah, let's break it up a bit more. So, these specs, what does that look like? So, can different chains, different RPC providers for different chains, um, give you these specs on chain, so that you can route to them as well, or how does it work?
Yeah, so in a nutshell, Lava is, let's start with the chains themselves, okay?
Hmm.
And then maybe we move to the dev. So let's say user wants to use Blast, right? And they will be making a lot of RPC requests to the nodes at the Blast blockchain. Now the question is who run the nodes and why would they run the nodes? So that's a great question. But when we started, we see that the dependency is in a small amount of different providers. And there's a lot of people that running nodes and can monetize their existing infrastructure while they're doing that. And that's why we started Lab. So last year, when we spoke to many rollups chains, we defined that the core problem each of them is facing is the same. How do they offer users and devs a reliable RPC endpoint so they can actually use their blockchain? So if you are an upcoming chain, even existing chain or rollup, you have three solutions that you can try. The foundation can try to run its own nodes. Obviously, it's a huge burden for them, and this is not the main focus.
Hmm.
Some community members may publicly volunteer to run the nodes, which is called a public RPC. And because of them, it's a volunteering basis. So most of the time, it's not scalable. It's not scalable, and it's as a downtime. And finally, you ending up the ecosystems, the chains themselves ending up of paying a lot for RPC provider, but they don't know what's the quality of service they make, right?
Hmm.
They don't know what are the insights to their community. They don't know when they know when the downtimes, but they don't know about the accuracy of the data. So these solutions are time consuming. You don't see the quality of the service. They're very expensive and they're unreliable. And that's exactly what Lava is doing. We presented this concept that we call public incentivized public RPC, when every community can define its own spec and invite the 400 node runners running on Lava to participate in this pool. The ecosystem is putting incentive, and Lava distributes the incentive at the end of the month based on the quality of service.
Okay, okay. Um, Incentivized public RPC. So, where does the incentive come from? How is that payment handled to the RPC provider? Is it also what asset is it then? Is it like is Lava network itself paying with the Lava token or whatever, or is it also or exclusively the ecosystems that you said put up the spec and incentivize themselves? They put up a token, their token or whatever, or
Yeah,
how does that work?
so the Lava ecosystem, Lava Foundation can receive any tokens, any incentive mechanism, any fiat to be distributed for payment of the service at the end of the month. We already start working with great ecosystem like Evmos, Axelar, Near, and everyone choose a different method how to
Mhm.
monetize. And we see that the monetization, the pool of incentives that is determining how strong providers, what is the strength of the provider, what's the quality of service that will attract those providers. Because if providers see high incentive, obviously they coming and they want to be part of this pool.
Mhm. Does the payment happen on chain on Lava then? Like, let's say you get the payment, you said it could be in different ways, like the foundation could get fiat or whatever. Do
Yeah,
you
it,
then,
it differs
yeah.
from one ecosystem to another. At the end of the day, Lava wants to provide the chains a tool to distribute those payments at the end of the day based on the quality of service. So if you remember before, I mentioned that during each session between a DApp and a provider, uh, all the different parameters of the
Mhm.
session is being collected: the latency, availability, reliability, and this is being done in order to give the scoring and obviously clustering each and every provider for next time, for the next pairing. And yeah, this tool is much easier to decide at the end of the month automatically what incentive, what rewards every provider will receive.
Okay. So this part obviously happens on chain, but then with different tokens, or is everything converted to your native token in the background and then
No,
distributed?
it's
Or?
so if you think about the Lava different actors on the chain, we have the dApps buying a subscription. We have ecosystem that putting incentive in whatever form they want. We see providers that have need to stake Lava for the accountability that they bringing, because if they might give a bad service, they can
Yeah.
be jailed or even slashed.
Yeah.
And we have the validators that watching the chain. Obviously, they staking level. But at the end of the day, the rewards for the IPRPC is based on the decision of the ecosystem.
Okay. Just maybe to give an example, let's say Near wants to pay with Near tokens or whatever, and for that to be done according to the rules of Lava network, right? The distribution to which RPC providers,
Yeah,
this
the
would
provider
happen.
needs to sign up with the wallet address at the end of the month, according to the service they provide. Near can distribute the rewards, the near rewards, according to your example, in one click.
Okay, but does that happen on the near chain, or is that always like is it bridged over to Lava Network first, the near through a bridging partner, or how does it?
It depends. Again, it depends. I don't want to confuse that, but it depends
Yeah.
on the on the ecosystem and how they decided to implement. We see different implementation now, but at the end of the day, it's being distributed with Lava, with the Lava platform.
Okay. Um, right. So one of the things that I picked up on was that um, well, one of the things that's more straightforward to me is if you decentralize this service, that it would be potentially more reliable and like more censorship resistant and things like that, because that's like a straightforward benefit of doing like a decentralized solution versus a centralized one. But in terms of being faster than a centralized RPC when we go through Lava. How does that work? Because it's not like intuitive to me that the more you decentralize, the faster the service will be. Can you speak on that? Like, how can Lava achieve high availability but also like high speed, for example?
I like this question because when we started 2 years ago, we were always facing this kind of misconception, that decentralization bring less efficiency, less speed, latency, and so forth. So the problem is not necessarily centralization. The problem is the discovery and market efficiency, right?
Hmm.
So if you think about decentralized RPC, we learned that this is not the issue. RPC is only centralized because there is no other easy way to see what is the best node provider. And for example, if you think about taxis, they used to be very centralized. You need to call the taxi center, and there was no way to see who's next to us, who's next to you, and
Hmm.
who is the giving you the best service, or even the price. Maybe a different driver could do it for 50% less, right? But then Uber came, and suddenly everything is much more efficient. You get paired with the best taxi driver based on the location, the rating. You get the best price, and it's super easy to use the app, right? You have the location services, and everything is next to you. And this is Lava, the Uber for data access. But
Mm.
what if Uber doesn't have Wi-Fi connection? The app is down. Lava can never be down. We introduce this concept that we call constant availability. And even if the Lava blockchain halts, the app still have service because Lava is not a middle. The blockchains themselves plug into Lava network of node runners. The developers send RPC request, and the protocol, the communication peer-to-peer protocol, connects the devs to the best available provider based on location and quality of service. So if you think in general, Lava, what Lava is doing is only fetching the list of different providers to your browser. And the list is updating, but it doesn't need constantly to be updated. So even if the Lava blockchain is down, the app still have a service. And this is when the vision evolved to a modular network that actually enables developers to build whatever, wherever.
Okay, okay. That's okay, I understand. So um I also hear that this would, or an idea behind it is to kind of like create a marketplace, so a more efficient market, I guess, around RPCs and potentially lower costs.
Yeah, what we realize is that the way today RPC APIs are being priced is not necessarily according to the market, right?
Hmm.
If, for example, you see you mentioned before you have an NFT drop or something, um, we can we can offer high incentive balanced by the supply and demand because it's a open economy. Uh, to bring more providers if in a specific region or area you don't have service, you don't have supply. So obviously the price is going up. But I think what is more right to say is that the price will be determined by the market,
Mm.
and it's similar to a permissionless Amazon, right? We love to give this example. Like in Amazon, you Amazon collecting a list or not list, different merchants that can potentially sell every item. The same way the Amazon algorithm is pairing between the consumers and the providers, also according to the ratings and the price and different parameters and how long the delivery takes. So the same thing applies to Lava. Lava connects data consumers to data providers
Mm.
that selling any type of data, and the price will follows according to the supply and demand.
Mm. That's a lovely summary there. I think that's uh, that was good in terms of simply understanding it. Can you
It's all
speak a
about
little bit more?
simplicity.
Yeah, yeah, simplicity Occam's razor. We like simplicity.
Look, I didn't know 2 years ago that I would be so excited about RPC, but I realized this is much bigger than RPC. We are lowering the barrier to every DApp to build for Web3. My friends now from Web2, and we are Web2 veterans, me and my co-founder, they're talking to us about building things for Web3. And when they realize what we do, which with all this simplicity,
Yeah.
it's much easier, um, they just want to onboard. And yeah, that's super exciting.
All right. Yeah. Well, we want to onboard more people into Web3, right? So that's the way.
Correct? Yes, sir.
Can you talk a little bit more about like ensuring quality of service? You mentioned like there's a scoring system and things like that on Lava. Uh, yeah, can you just explain that a little better, like how you ensure quality of service? Because that's obviously like a big topic in terms of you got many providers versus one point of contact when you have one provider. Yeah, just I also heard about this. You mentioned this in a different podcast. I'm not sure if that was just to to put an image in someone's head or if there's more behind it, like report cards. You said, yeah.
This
Can you
is the
just
bread
talk
and
more about that?
that's the bread and butter of of Lava, because
Hmm.
if we just sign up to a provider, we have a lock-in contract for 1 year. Sometimes we see the service is down, but that's only thing we see. What
Hmm.
about implementing, load balancer, backup, disaster recovery? What about understand if the data is accurate? Maybe it's not the latest block. So how do we know that? And
Hmm.
the Lava protocol built from ground up to ensure this data quality of service and data accuracy. And the same for Uber ratings. Every transaction, every session is being scored. So imagine now you open a transaction and you want to query, block height, the gas price on one of the chains. So automatically you get a list of, let's say, 10 providers, right?
Hmm.
Uh, every session, the length is 30 minutes and the session is opening. So you're communicating peer-to-peer with the provider. As a reminder, Lava is not in the middle.
Hmm.
During this transaction, you can make a lot of queries, and at the end of the day, we collecting the latency, availability, all sorts of parameters to make sure this scoring that's going to be used for the scoring of the transaction. And the transaction is not finished until the user signed it. So the user signed that it's actually like the Uber rating. When they sign the transaction, they send it back to the provider. The provider needs the signature of the user because he wants to get paid. With this signature, he goes back to the Lava chain, on chain, and say, okay, look, I gave this service for that. That and inside this transaction, you have the different parameters that obviously it cannot be changed, used for the score, for the clustering, and for next time when the provider wants to provide service, this score is being used in order to give him this service. So the user, the next user is now coming and asking again a query. The way the provider is being chosen is based on this score and the stake of Lava.
Okay, so let's say I open my MetaMask and I have the Lava RPC set up, and then obviously I see my balance. So that is a query that is sent out and comes from the RPC. It fetches my balance from the chain. Like this action from me, does that trigger then a scoring that is put on the Lava network on chain for that provider, or
Exactly. So
okay?
once the transaction is finished, once the session is finished, as a reminder, every 30 minutes. And by
Ah,
the
okay.
way, after every 30 minutes, if all is good, we can extend the transaction as much as the user needed.
Hmm.
All the parameters you mentioned are being collected in order to score the transaction.
Okay, so every 30 minutes. That's what I was wondering. I was like, every query could be a bit intense, right?
No, no,
To
but
put that on
of
chain.
course not. But also one of the quality of service mechanism is the sampling, because you we want Lava wants to ensure that the data is up to date. So the provider doesn't know that, but there is a sampling mechanism to benchmark and to compare between the different transaction, and that's
Hmm.
actually bring them to to make sure that the data that they provide is accurate. And if we find any misalignment, so we have different mechanism as conflict detection and conflict resolution that goes up to validator in order to vote everything automatically, obviously, to vote what the information is right, and might reduce the score of the providers.
Right. I also I'm curious about how you got into the space. I believe you did some, or someone got you into NFT trading at the beginning. You know, how did that go? Also, yeah, what collections are we bullish on these days, or are we not? Are we not talking about NFTs anymore?
Yeah. So me and my background, me and my co-founder, we Israelis, very very strong tech background. My co-founder founded a sole cybersecurity startup. I founded several startups in fintech, business intelligence, and even supermarket technology. So we are Web 2 veterans, and uh, almost 3 years ago, we jumped into MEV, and my co-founder started there, and he dragged me in. I fell through the rabbit hole, and as someone who came from the supermarket where everything is slow, I once worked with Walmart, and it took me 5.5 years to implement first store. Um, I was excited. I was so thrilled by
Yeah.
the the pace in this space, right? Because you talk to someone to another project, and the day later it's already implemented, and it's being served for millions of dollars, and you have a lot at stake. At the same time, you have a lot of responsibility, and me and my co-founder, we thought we can bring our knowledge and and create something big that can really scale the industry, can really lower the barrier to entry for dApps, for for the different adoption, and to see some killer apps solution here. And we thought that what's holding it back is the data access, right? Is the how you build on the space. When we did the MEV, we needed to run up a few nodes in different chains, and then go to centralized provider, and then query if the data is like, what is this? It's $1 trillion industry, right?
Mm.
It's Think about that. When you typing today www.lavanet.xyz, do you know how the HTTP works? What version is that? Do you know if you are speaking with a server at Eastern Europe, if it's Azure, AWS, GCP, you have no idea why
Mm.
dApps has today to have this knowledge. And this is exactly what we want to solve.
Okay, okay. So no NFT trading? Did
No,
you
no
do? Did
comment.
you? Okay. All right. Well, I was hoping, some pudgy penguins or something. How easy is it actually for new projects like Rollups, for example, ecosystems, like you said, to integrate with your services for RPC providers? Like, perhaps, like, can you run us through a DApp or Rollup, etc., using Lava, like, and just yeah, just show us like how that could look if it's quick or not. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. If you talk about centralized RPC as a reminder, they have single point of failure. So you are depending on a server that's running a node and can go bust, can go down, and then you cannot access it. With Lava, there is no single point of failure. So you are automatically connected and reconnected with the best available node. So
Mm-hmm.
it's rare that you don't have an Uber driver, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there is always one you can connect it. So whether it was all days, you call to the taxi center or station, and the taxi can be closed. You cannot go anywhere, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you need to do it in advance. So that's the simplicity we wanted to bring, and that's one of the strong features that Lava has. That's the novelty of specs. I will just share the screen now, and we can see a spec actually is like it's a JSON file. Okay, I'm going now to our Git, and our
Mm-hmm.
GitHub have something that we call the cookbook, as you see here. And cookbook is cooking a recipe, right?
Mm.
So in different chains, you have different recipes. But when we build that, we thought how we can make it very modular, how we can reduce the barrier to entry with using previous specs. Okay, so let me go to the most common one, the Ethereum spec. And this file is a JSON file. This is how you adding new specification. You can see this is the Ethereum mainnet. You can see a lot of parameters that you have in the different RPC calls, the APIs here. You see account balance, block number, and each of them is the price of coin. That this price is called the compute unit you mentioned before. Here you see it's 10. If you think about what is the ETH call, the price is different. It's 20. And there's a big long list of different sets. It varies between chain to chain. Obviously, it goes to non-EVM, EVM, and in different chains, you have between dozens of APIs call up to hundreds. I
Mm-hmm.
think Ethereum has a couple of hundreds. But when you go back and you want, let's say you have a new upcoming chain, for example,
Yeah.
Blast,
Yeah.
right? So the community actually, together with our DevRel, defined this Blast spec, as you can see here.
Mm-hmm.
And if you click on that, you see because it's basically EVM compatible, you see a very important and strong value that we call imports, and you see ETH. Basically, what's what you see defined here is taking the old spec of ETH and adding to that the dedicated, the specific Blast spec. And
Mm-hmm.
as you see, this file is not that long, right?
Mm.
But it's also give a new API collection, a new different set of values that are specifically for Blast. So
Mm-hmm.
when the community is coming, defining this spec, making a governance proposal to approve this spec, this who defined this doc is called a champion or a contributor, and they will continue to get rewards for defining the spec. Now, after the spec is defined, you're going back to the providers, to Lava providers, and saying who wants to support Blast spec. And we did that with examples for Koi network, who defined their own spec. And I can tell you that in less than an hour, a double digits of provider already signed up and used their Koi spec.
Mm,
So this is that flexible. And that's
okay.
exactly what we want to bring to Web3. Build whatever, wherever.
Mm. You mentioned the line price. Did that mean basically how much they would pay for that call, or what
That's
did that
correct.
mean?
That's correct.
Mm.
And if you remember what I mentioned before, the price will be determined by by the supply and demand. Also, one of the future features of Lava
Mm-hmm.
post mainnet is to make this flexibility determined by the community, by the supply and demand, and by various features and parameters that you see on chain.
Mm, okay. So basically summed up, the community of, for example, the chain or the layer 2 blast puts up the spec on the Lava network. The RPC providers in Lava network see that, and they can decide if they want to serve this for the indicated price and the details.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Sweet. I also noticed in your in another interview of yours that you guys, or your co-founder, I'm not sure, mentioned like sort of like a grander vision for full chain abstraction, and what role Lava could play there in the long term. You mentioned kind of like the fragmentation of the user experience across all these chains. Yeah, can you just sum that up again in terms of what the problem is you see in terms of these this fragmentation, and what Lava could do there beyond the RPCs?
So when you think about what my co-founder, how my co-founder started with MEV, he needed to spin up nodes in different chains. He needed to use centralized providers. He needed to implement a redundancy, right? The backup, the load balancer, and so forth. And that doesn't make sense. It's using the resources of the apps, which are small teams, and they can spend those resources somewhere else. It uses the ecosystem resources, funds, instead of monetizing that back to the community. They have a lock-in contract with centralized providers. So our vision is to have one subscription to dApps, access to all Web3. If the dApps at the end of the day can use, they're building on Polygon and they want to move to another L2,
Hmm.
we want to have this flexibility for the dApps, not to think even, oh, we need now the DevOps team. We need to have
Mm.
contract. We need to get quotes from provider. It's the chain abstraction that we're going towards, the modularity. It doesn't matter which vision you're choosing, because when you're typing www.lavanet, you don't really know how you get the data. You know that you're going to read data, and you know that you're going to write data. And if we want to see mass adoption in Web3, this is a key element to get there.
Mm. Congratulations, actually, on the seed raise. I saw you guys raised $15 million from a range of VCs and investors. Yeah, what was that process like?
It's a headache. No, I'm kidding. It's
No, we have you on
look.
record.
It's I think we were very lucky to have this kind of partners along with us. It's not the first time we raised funds, and we did that in Web 2. I never seen such a quick pace. Sorry, in Web 3. Like
Okay.
it's me and my co-founder first time. Um, we What was important for us is to really bring the natives, the OGs, the one that can push us in different aspects when we're creating a network, when we're creating an ecosystem. Since we had an amazing 10,000 people in our community up to up to the announcement, we have now 200,000 in those 4 weeks. The community is exploding. We've seen before millions of wallets open up using Lava. Um, this sign up on Lava for the Magma points. It's insane, and I think we are in the right time now. And we invite more dApps, more builders. Come with us. It's just the beginning. We want to be the first, and we are the first modular access layer for Web3. And I think that's the vision that the investors see in front of them. They see us as veterans, as know how to scale products, to bring a strong team. We have an amazing family, 20 engineers in the team, and obviously growing. And the foundation is now in place, and it has its own head of foundation, CTO, community and marketing. And I think this is the right time to build. As every investment, and I'm always saying that when I'm giving advices to early founders, um, the day after the money is the bank is not a happy day. It's a lot of responsibility on the shoulders
Mm.
because now you need to execute. And I feel, we're doing something that is a game changer to the industry, and I'm excited to see how this year gonna continue.
Awesome. Well, speaking about how this year is going to continue, what are you most excited about? What's coming up? And can you do a quick summary again on where you're at right now? Like, I believe a test net is up. That's where you can, I think that was Magma, where you can earn the points. But I think it's also important to mention there the test net does route like to actual RPCs. Like, if you use
Exactly. Yeah.
the test net, then you are interacting with the actual chains, right?
Yeah, there's always a common misconception about testnet. We are a
Hmm.
production-ready service. Lava testnet is serving dozens of dApp, different chains, distributing rewards for providers, and the foundation is taking care of all of that. Currently, mainnet is around the corner. The foundation is working on listing. It's coming up very soon, and all the team is working 24/7 in order to make sure that the service is available and all the key features in our vision is fulfilled pace by pace. But we don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. That's the key, I think, here. And after the announcement, after If Denver Now, we have a backlog of new upcoming chains want to use Lava. We doing that step by step because the focus now is to bring a scalable product. I'm super excited to see what the future holds. I feel it, and the team feels it, and the community is becoming more and more vibrant. Yeah, but as I said before, 2024 is going to be an exciting year.
That's awesome. So lava is flowing. Well, magma is flowing. Lava is coming. Uh, you lava everyone according to your T-shirt. So everything's in place, right? So is there anything else where you would like to, like, where would you like to point people that are listening, that are watching this, to get involved with lava?
Everyone can build on Lava. Everyone can use Lava. Today, if you're non-tech, use the Lava Magma point system. Join our Discord, the Twitter. I invite you all to be part of this early adopter community. It's still super early, right? We're building super fast, but the future is Lava. The future is let the lava flow or the data flow.
Mm. Yeah, everyone's asking themselves this right now. When token though?
I can revert them back to the foundation. I know they're working on that constantly, and yeah, I hope soon they will share some knowledge, some more
All right,
information
all
about
right.
it.
Sweet. Yeah, yeah, it was a pleasure. Great chat. Very technical topic, but I think we could break it open a little bit. Let's see what the viewers say. You can find all those links in the show notes as well. Yeah, thank you, Yair, for coming on the show.
Thank you, Sohail.